like you know, the mineral patch on destination. You can mine that out and go in behind their base or something like that. More Stargates going down. Interesting. And a fleet beacon. Oh man, we could be seeing some mass Sares. He could just be getting the fleet beacon for some disruption web, but we also could be seeing. Oh, did you see that? Plaguing the observer, picking it off with the Hydralisk as well, so that the lurkers. I really like yCh's use of multiple kinds of units here in sequence. Usually Zergs get stuck with just like 2 kinds of units. They'll just go ultra lang or something like that, and there's not necessarily anything wrong with that. I mean, there's something to be said about that, because then your upgrade stack and that kind of thing. But it's really nice to see players using more than one kind of unit. It forces the other person to diversify and micro more too. And oh my god, a ton of Overlords going down. But the Corsairs also going down. The Plague softening them up. Not as many Corsairs as yCh would like, though. Now they're just going to go over here, and the Plagued Corsairs chilling on top of the Spore Colony. 2 more going down. Free kills for yCh. And wow, but that is a lot of Ultralisks. We are looking at, I believe... Yes, I believe there's a gas mine at all these expansions, so yCh is running off 6 gas now. 6 gas! Oh man, that means he's gonna be able to produce Ultralisks like crazy. I mean, he's had enough to have Defilers along with the Ultras. Usually you see players, they don't get as many Defilers late game because they're spending their gas on Ultras, but he's got so much gas he doesn't know what to do with it. Well, apparently he does know what to do with it, is make a bunch of high-tech units. That's exactly what he's doing. Now the Ultras are coming in, hopefully to suck up the storm. yCh picking off, crucially, an Observer there, I believe. It could have been a Corsair that he picked off, but I missed it for a moment there. And there's the Dark Archon in the mix. I'm surprised yCh doesn't turn around and try and pick it off, because that would be a nice little kill. Get him get free one less tactical advantage in the next big battle where he would want to use that. But anyways, yCh also having to include not just the lurkers, but also some Hydralisks to make sure that the Corsairs can't just do completely ridiculous amounts of damage to his Overlord count. Anyway, yeah, but now yCh finally, he's taken that, I'm sorry, he has taken that 3 o'clock now, so yCh now at 7 bases, free at 6, he may be getting his 7th, yCh trying to take his 8th base. This is crazy. This is starting to remind me of the game from GG Play vs. Stork, where they mined out all of Andromeda. There may have been a couple minerals at the top base for Andromeda, but I think it was completely mined out on Andromeda. And they are looked to be doing the same thing. It looks like their mains are mined out, and yCh is just not going to quit. He loves his Doom drops. Well, it's not quite a Doom drop, but he loves his drops, and he doesn't care if Free has spent a few thousand minerals on cannons in his main base. He is going to go in here for this Doom drop, for the big drop rather, and oh man, he's got his lurkers clumped up though. It's always, you always, I mean, the temptation is to try and get those lurkers burrowed as soon as possible when you're doing a big drop like that. But oh, feedback! Feedback kills the Defiler right as it was consuming, right as it was going to cast a swarm to protect all those Ultras from the massive cannon fire and the Zerglings. Feedback on the Defiler, pops it. Oh man, he had just filled up on energy, and it was just enough energy to pop that Defiler with feedback. That was a beautiful maneuver by Free, and probably basically just saved that base without maneuver there. Free is playing really smart here, and just playing. I mean, he's kind of playing defensively. He's not going after yCh very much. He's just kind of, he knows that in a long game, if the Protoss can keep up in bases with the Zerg, then they're in good shape. And so that's basically what he's trying to do here, is just keep up with bases and play defensively, not engage if he doesn't have to, and just build up a ball of really high-tech units, and that's what he's trying to do. He's got the Archons going now. You know, you storm, if you survive the battle, then your High Templar that stormed before become your Archons, and that becomes your new base for your next army, which is even more powerful. And so he's starting to build up an Archon force here, and that is when it gets really scary, is when you have a ball of Archons, because there's just not a whole lot Zerg can do about that. You need the Swarm and the Ultralisks basically, and that's hard to pull off. And here we come in, another, and actually Free is actually putting the pressure on now. He may try and take out one of these expansions finally, and if he can take out an expansion and really even things up, he will be in really good shape. It looks like yCh is determined to defend us off, though. coming in with a Swarm and the Ultralisk. I think he's pretty much going to be able to fend this off. That is a lot of Ultralisks. Free just running into... running his army into yCh's base and casting storms behind him, desperately trying to kill off those Ultras. His army is pinned, though. What an army he has, and oh, there's a nice Maelstrom catching a lot of Ultras there. One gets stormed to death. Did not have a chance to even run away from that storm, but really there's just too much there. And when you storm most of the Ultralisks and there's still 3 or 4 running around, that is not a good sign here. So Free managing to stay even in basis, but now he's in a bit of trouble because he's lost his army. He's lost his map control. He's just gotten 2 thrown off. He's had to split up his forces a little bit because he's had to maintain an army in his main, in all of his expansions. He's had to keep High Templar in his various expansions in case of drops. And so his army was not quite big enough to deal with all those Ultralisks, and it melted, and it's just going to be really difficult for him to build up as much of an army very quickly. Look at this. He needs an army so badly. He's converting all of his new Templar into Archons just so he has a decent army to fight things off with, and he's going to have to use the Stormers that he has around to try and deal with things. And now another drop coming in here at this new base here. Oh my god! Maelstrom on the Overlords! He storms all the Overlords to death before they drop. Absolute massive damage. That was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. That is one of the pimpest plays of all time I have ever seen. Huge drop coming in to destroy Free's new base. And he Maelstrommed the Overlords and took out most of the units. As we just saw there, he did get out a single Defiler and an Ultralisk and maybe a couple of Zerglings, but more than, not nearly enough to really do any damage with the small force that Free had there. Wow. That was, he probably, with that one Maelstrom, he probably took out, you know, a couple thousand minerals and some gas on there as well. But just because you think there were probably Ultralisks in there, there's definitely some Cracklings in there, maybe a Lurker, who knows, maybe another Defiler. There was some good stuff in there. 4 or 5 Overlords destroyed with forces all in them, with only a couple got out. That was brilliant. And here's what yCh really needs to be doing, and he's doing it really well, is the Swarm with the Ultralisks, because it's going to make the Archons far, far less effective. And Jesus Christ, he's got huge armies of Ultralisks here. Free now switching over and getting some Reavers, which is good. I mean, Reavers are kind of the antithesis to Ultralisks. They do so much damage, especially with the upgrade. You know, a few Scarabs is going to pop an Ultralisk very, very quickly, and usually the Ultralisks have a hard time getting a surround on the Reavers to really kill them off before they can be killed by them. And, but Jesus, that is a lot of Ultralisks. God. And Free, you can see he had to get an army out very, very quickly, so his army is actually really Zealot heavy. He does not have a lot of tech units to his name. He had to morph those Archons. He had to get some Reavers out, but he did not have a lot of it. Perfect positioning here, getting the Zealots in front of the Reavers. The Reavers are going to be able to take pot shots from behind. Some storms going up, but he's had to morph most of his Templar into Archons, so he did not have a lot of storms for that situation. But the Reavers, as well as the Zealots, is actually enough to deal it. And actually, I kind of thought that maybe he was building more Zealots because he wanted to get an army out faster. He didn't want to wait for Dragoons, and maybe he was running low on I don't know, maybe running low on gas or something like that. But what he may have done is he may have been thinking about all those swarms that have been going down and thinking how consistent yCh has been with those swarms and deciding that he wanted to have more units that could do full damage underneath that swarm and picking off that that 6 o'clock expansion before it's able to get up again. yCh tried to take that earlier, and now he's tried to take it again. So let's see. Yeah, basically Free has managed to hold and continue to take those bases on the left. The map is split completely down the middle. yCh with all the bases on the right side of the map, Free with all the bases on the left side of the map, and then the 12 and 6 bases, kind of the wildcard bases, have not been taken by either player. It's basically really going to be hard for them to take, for either player to take those bases. They're going to be really vulnerable. It looks like yCh might be setting up for another drop, though. I can see some units at that 12 o'clock base. It might just be part of his army, like holding that position while the base goes up, though. But somehow he manages to maintain 2 large armies. Whoa! Swarm's going down. He's going to have to back up. He needs to pick up those Reavers. Back up a little bit. Actually, I think he still has some Zealots in the way there. So he's going to be able to get off a few more Scarabs before he has to back up. And those Scarabs are really destroying yCh. yCh needs to do something about those Reavers. Maybe get a few more Hydras in play and try and pick off those Reavers, because those Reavers, he's now up to 3 or 4. are really decimating. That's right, they're killing every 1 in 10 of his Ultralisks. Actually, they're more than decimating. What would the term be for killing 5 out of 10? I guess it'd be hectimating, maybe? Or, maybe he's octimating them, since he had about 10 Ultralisks and he came out with 2 at the end of that. He's being octimated by the Reaver's Scarab Fire. But he's not out of it yet, though. And the 12 o'clock base goes down. Free picking that one off as well. And Free trying to take this base in the 6 o'clock position. If he can take that base and hold it, he'll be in really good shape. He's going to be a base up on yCh. He's going to be based up on yCh if he can hold that. yCh catching it just in time, though. Free's army is a little bit out of position. His army is in the middle of the map. He's probably going to be able to take out this base before it warps in. Yes, he's going to have to cancel all that. And yCh, coming at a critical moment, is able to take that out. He's actually